Yes, we thank God for another beautiful Wednesday today. And we just give God praise for the grace, for the privilege that we have to see another beautiful Wednesday here. To be seated right here with you as you listen, enjoy, and engage, and just dive into the conversation as we go on another edition of World Bank Kingdom Conversation. This is to remind you all again that this happens every Wednesday via our YouTube channel and across our social media platforms by 6 p.m. We pray 5 p.m. and by 6 p.m. we have the conversation. And I want to specially welcome you to another exciting that I'm so sure that tonight is also going to be a great one. Last one was a beautiful one where we had Mrs. Moron KJ, we had Pastor, and we also had Pastor Isaac join in the conversation, and it was an insightful dialogue, and it was such a time of liberation. I've discovered this season for me as a time of liberation where people can listen to something that will help their minds, free them from the shackles of some expectation and guilt and all of those things. But here we thank God for that, and tonight again I believe that God is going to help us to drive this conversation to you and for you, so that you can help yourself and you can also help people out there, and so we too can be blessed of everything. We are supposed to be the partakers also. As we are talking about it, we are also being being refreshed in our spirit and in our minds, and it's our prayer that you also will hear all of these words and you will be blessed, and you can also be a blessing with the information that you have. So we're still back with the theme, how to enjoy sex the way God designed, and I'm your host, Kayode Sonny. Yes, I don't know why I always sometimes forget to mention that. Yes, Kayode Sonny is here. And today again we have our wonderful guest with us, Mrs. Moronkeji, who is going to be joining us this evening again. Good evening.
Good evening.
How was
so
you?
good to be back.
Yes, I was.
Week was such
Yes.
wholesome conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, you got that. That's so perfect right there, and it's good to have you again.
Thank you.
So tonight I want you to talk to certain situations. So I'm going to be coming at different angles, right? But first, I'd like to start off the show on a controversial note. So over the weekend, the popular controversies. Don't worry, you would like this one. You would like this one.
Right.
It's something it's something you know. It's something you probably might have engaged one time or the other. So over the weekend, this popular influencer by the name Vicky James was at an event, and she was just pouring out her mind, sharing. It felt looking at the video, it felt as though that she was giving out some gems. There were some other people there, and she was talking, and then she got to a particular point, right? Though she said a lot, but this particular point and these things that she said, this particular thing that she said, got everyone talking. And what did she say? In our words now, don't deny your husband sex. If you are too tired, just lie down and open your legs. You don't need to do any work. And it got everyone talking. Why would you say someone should do that? Don't you know that sex is this and all of that? So first off, what is your own reaction to that? And second, would that be would that be the right way to go?
Okay. Funny enough, I'm just hearing about it. That's really very unusual. I don't know why. I'm just hearing about it because, Vicky James is known to be, she would say her mind, and I would always say that in every situation, unless it is expressly, stated in the Word of God.
Each. Mm. Mm.
So I would say that that's what we are, and because that Thank you. Because that works for Vicky James, I will say that that does not necessarily mean that it will work for every other person, right? But the truth is, that is a way. That is a solution. If your spouse does not mind, and I'm sure our spouse does not mind, they must have had that conversation, and because it works for her, it's coming from, I want to believe that she's saying it from a place of something that has worked for her. You get. And funny enough, it works for me too. Sometimes I just, because, sometimes you have to be very considerate. That's just it. Sex it has to be mutual. And then when you're not self-centered, and you could see that your husband or your wife now, because it's not gender specific, I've seen in situations where it's the woman that wants it. I just don't want everybody to have that idea that it's only men that are being denied sex. Women too are being denied sometimes. So as long as your spouse wants it, and maybe in at that particular time you could see that, God, this man is on fire, this kanji is on another level, and it's just physical tiredness. And maybe you would suggest, there are times when I've suggested that I'm tired. Shay, you do not mind if I don't participate. And sometimes my husband would say, you won't participate. So yeah, let's try it. Let's bet it. I would ensure that you get into the mood. And most times the truth is that all I needed to do was just cooperate, and then before I knew it, me that I was boasting, I won't participate, and then I would, go on. But it's not everybody that is wired the way I am wired and the way Vicky James is wired. Some people personalities are different. Some people are very, very conservative. Some people are planners to the core. Even to planning sex, they must plan, the atmosphere must be right.
Hey,
for some people, any atmosphere goes. You get anything. I have a friend, when the room is not organized, she cannot be aroused. I'll be like, what concern me with pile of clothes inside my room? How does that affect my arousal? That is me. And that's how that other person is. So in as much as Vicky is not wrong, or generalizing that might not just work for everybody, and that's why she got the backlash.
And thankfully you made mention of that, because I was about to go there now. That that's the thing with talking.
Yeah.
If we are not careful, we get to a point where we begin to, because it works for you, you begin to generalize that, and because it's coming from someone of influence, everyone around there who looks up to that person hears that, and then they run with that. Just like the one I spoke about last week, a singer singing about putting alum inside your private part, and then you also have some people joining that trend and doing that same thing, right? So in this moment right now, so it means that there's a problem with information and how we address information, especially when it is about sex in the home.
When it's about anything, there are some things that you can't just generalize. That was why I started from, unless it's expressly written in the Word of God, there are some things that, even at that, some people will still want to turn the Word of God. Well, there are some things that are just clear. You understand? Things like when we talk about the Word of God, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. There is no
there's no back and forth about
there is no back that we can. That is a certain statement, and we can generate. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. But there are some things that it's not just general for everybody, because personality, mood, and sometimes you, for God's sake, you don't know what the other person has gone through. And sometimes that tiredness is not always physical tiredness. There could be psychological tiredness or emotional tiredness, and Just lying down is not just you're not relieving the stress by lying down. Even lying down, the stress is still ongoing because it's not something you can just wish away.
Yeah. So which then means that there's got to be a certain level of communication where either parties have to just understand that okay,
Absolutely.
this tiredness is beyond physical, and then they can find a way to meet at some point. So how do we? So how can couples have this conversation?
That's it. So if I was in that meeting and I was asked to contribute, yes, we should not deny each other sex. But if you don't want to have sex, talk about it. What's your why? What is the why? Talk. You can negotiate. You can, of course, there are compromises. There are times when you compromise. There are times when you negotiate and talk about. But your why will determine a whole lot of things. If your why is, let's say, physical tiredness, husband be kind enough, or if it's the wife now, if it's the husband that is tired, let the spouse be kind enough to empathize. First of all, ensure that you do not toss away the feeling. Validate that feeling, because it's not your tiredness. It's my tiredness. So if I say I'm tired, and then you can be kind enough to make suggestions like, okay, can I do a massage? Where is it muscle strain? How can I make this better? Offer suggestions like a massage. Do you want to take a shower? A warm or cold shower sometimes would do the magic. In fact, most times does the magic. Kind words. You want to affirm. Listen. How did your day go? And by the time you are rubbing the feet, you're doing massage, tiredness will do what? Fly away. And if it's something psychological, maybe you've had a bad day, do you want to tell me about it? Can we talk about it? How can I make this better? You can hold hands, look into your partner's eyes, and tell them that, oh no, this was unfair, but I know you're more than this. Kind words. It will elevate the mood, get the partner in a better mood. You can give a warm, long hug. We don't know how to give hugs most these days. You get, as in, why would husband and wife be giving each other side hugs? I watch people in church and I'll be like, what's that? Side hug. You're married. It should be long and warm. Like you hug and then rub the back. That's where the warmth comes. Or you're hugging and then stroking the hair. There is always a touch. It strikes differently. And then you just realize that the mood has improved. So those are, ways where you talk about it, and then that would lead you to the solution. But the why is important. If you don't know the why, you might not know the what to do.
So let me take this further. Some marriages have gotten to the point where a partner, maybe, I don't know, some sort of strain there's a strain in that marriage already that is affecting that sexual life, and so this partner uses the idea that I'm tired, I'm just not there. So the person is always tired, and then it causes a strain in their sexual life.
Correct. That's them not being honest. I tell couples, the place of intimacy is the place of vulnerability and honesty and truthfulness. If you can't, of course, even a child will know that I am tired is no longer genuine, because it's not possible you're tired 24/7, 365 days a week. You might need to start looking for another excuse. We all know when it's not tiredness, and it's better we just tell the truth, like communicate. The bedrock of all relationships is communication, and even in sex, communication is still vital. We would say that we should listen more to each other, especially non-verbal cues. Communication is not only in speaking. In fact, the speaking aspect of communication is not as pronounced as the nonverbal cues. Someone can say yes, and then the body gesture, the body language is all saying no. You get, so someone might say I'm tired, but the body language is happy with you. I'm not pleased with you. I'm upset. I'm unhappy. You know, it could just, if we listen more and talk less, maybe we'd be able to, you know, get through our partner to tell us the truth. And sometimes some people feel that no matter how much, some people don't feel heard. It's still part of listening, because if I think you hear me and you hear me well, that means you're listening well, and then I won't have to repeat myself over and over again. So some I've had some couples say, I'm just tired of repeating myself, so I just use the easiest excuse. I'm tired.
So which means, from what you said now, it then means that for married couples to enjoy a great sexual life, they have to take an wholesome stand.
Yes.
Because it also starts from this communication. Are they even well to do together? Are they together in body and spirit, to say the least? Now, like I said, we are going to be talking about to scenarios. I've heard. I've not really seen, but I've heard. And I've heard about scenarios where a couple is going through a divorce process.
Okay.
But they are still having sex. What's the foundation of that?
Okay. To answer that, I think the explanation is Maslow's law. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Sex is actually categorized as a basic need. So for some people, it's just a basic need. And you know, last week we talked about yada. So in that family, what's happening is not yada. It's just sex. That's just it. It's just sex without intimacy, without that place of giving your all, the totality. And so the sex can be good, and every other aspect is not good. So they've just seen it as a physiological need. The way sleep is essential, the way food and water, you know, they've just, you know, made sex a need, and they would, at least we are still
still there.
We are still there, and that would work if other things are not working. So that's how it is for some people.
Interesting. Let me move away from the married couples now.
Okay.
Bye to you. So on Monday in the United States, the U.S. President Donald Trump signed a bill outlawing the so-called revenge porn, including images created using artificial intelligence, and it's called the Take It Down Act, which was signed, makes it a federal crime to publish intimate images of a person without their consent, and obligates social media platforms to remove such images within 48 hours when requested by victims. The legislation, which was passed by the U.S. Congress earlier this year with unanimous support, applies to realistic-looking AI-created images known as deepfakes, as well as genuine photos. And according to Trump, while at the signing, he said that with the rise of AI image generation, countless women have been harassed with deepfakes and other explicit images distributed against their will. So this is, we thank God for the age of the AI. We thank God for the age of fast technological development. But then we are seeing the side effects of certain areas that are not being carefully handled. And thankfully, this is another great move, as we have seen in the news and that. So which means that there's a problem with information, especially now that we have technology on the rise with AI, unsolicited messages, and according to the president said so many women are being harassed. And I also assume that it's not just women now. People are being harassed, right? That's one step, right? What would be the next step? And how can we bring it back to our own local environment?
I was about to say the next step is, can Nigeria just follow suit? Even not just Nigeria, all over the world. Can we have, as much as we all or everybody might not be a fan of President Trump, But this one, oh, yeah, he has done well. He has done well, and I think every country in the world should follow suit, especially Africa, and of course here in Nigeria. So maybe can we do a bit of Soros, okay, and so that our lawmakers can push for some of those things too. It's really vital because um suicide is common with this kind of things, especially amongst teenagers or women generally. It's a crime against women because women are mostly the victims. We hardly find, there are very few guys that are victims, and the women are more pronounced. And some people have lost their lives, some their jobs. It's really very messy. So I would say that if this would go round, then a whole lot of people would feel safe. And then there have been instances where ladies were even recorded unknowingly.
Yes, as we saw
Unknowingly,
recently.
there are some that we've seen, even married people record. Yes, I remember an incident, a case like that. They were married when the videos were recorded, and it was just something
Without
they
each
enjoyed
other's
doing.
permission.
Yeah, with each other's permission.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
then there was issue, and then they had a conflict. They were not even divorced yet, and then the guy released the videos. It just, the fighting dirty is, some people really fight dirty. So that's like fighting dirty. I would disgrace you. I would ensure that you never can raise your head
My goodness.
anywhere. And that was just exactly what he did. It was humiliating, and all sorts. So if there are laws in place, that would not be done. And then this, it would help a lot of young guys. I hope this would extend to porn too, because it's still on the social media. How do you, the next step is, can we just ensure that child pornography, all these things, there are ways where they will be censored. And it's really all crazy. It's really all crazy. And in as much as I don't think some solutions will have to come from the family, because the first nation is the family. My husband and I rushed to the window, and we're watching this girl dragging issues. And of course, the voice became clearer. She kept saying, "You didn't send the money to my account. It's not my account." And it was obvious
Yeah.
they brought her overnight. And when She had to leave them because it was obvious they were just going to drag her or kill her or whatever. So she left their car, and she fell off and was crying and walking off. So I went to meet her, that young lady. Are you fine? She said, I will be fine. I don't worry. I have police. I can handle them.
Wow.
You know that I saw a very young, pretty girl. And then another call came in. She now spoke to the mom. The mom now said, okay, that fortunately, all these OPay or whatever accounts, that it's the brother's account. I don't even know how he ended up. So she now said, okay, but Yashi imagine because of what they did. And in my mind, I was just like, the entire family, you are aware of what is going on. And it saddened my heart. And in my mind, I was just like, what exactly is going on? Is this how much we've commercialized sex, or just we've made it something so casual?
So now my question is, from your work as a social worker, what do you think for this kind of scenario? What's the root cause, and how can we? I don't know if I should say help now.
Yeah, because
do something. Is there something to be done?
Sincerely, in my mind, when I got back to the house, I was asking my husband that, okay, she was in a good emotional state, so there was really nothing I could say at that time. Could I have gotten a number? Maybe, just maybe, thinking about it now, maybe I just, okay, can I have your number just to be sure you're fine? And then once in a while, you never can tell, words are seeds. And then I don't think we should all fold our hands and then just keep quiet about this thing. This girl cannot be more than 18 years.
Wow.
She can't be more than 18 years. And so it might not be her fault, because the family, of course, they don't see anything wrong in her family. Discussing it, my husband said maybe she's the meal ticket for the entire family. Could be poverty, and they feel like, oh, we have a beautiful daughter.
Wow.
You can do what your mates are doing, and then you get money. Some people would say, at least I'm not stealing. I've heard people say that way. So I think mentoring goes a long way. I personally believe a lot in mentoring at the grassroots level, at the community level, one-on-one level. Let us all, keep talking about values, about these things. Sex is not casual.
So that's usually the concern for me now, because we are talking about values, but here's someone who has to survive another day. So where does the balance come in?
See, that was why I said mentoring. Some people have gone through poverty without exchanging their body for sex. How did they do it? Can you go? Okay, people like Vicky James, we all know her story. She's very successful today, but things weren't so rosy like that. Can you come out more and talk more about these things? These are our social media influencers. Maybe if they talk more about it, well, it just occurred to me now that
I don't think
you
we
can
can
only
depend
talk.
on them.
We can't depend. But okay, what about Christian influencers then?
Maybe yeah.
What about Christian influencers? Because okay, at least I know one. What's her name again? This lady that used to act in Jennifer. I don't think if she. Toyosi, yes. Toyo comes out, to talk about these things. Initially, they wanted to shush her.
Yeah.
But she's beginning to gain ground now. Can we have more of Toyosi? Mentoring other young ladies, giving them alternatives, showing them the way. Naturally, people want to be like their hero. So can godly heroes come up and show up more and let an average child know that there are other ways. The way Tunde Onodeko is doing, Onokoya, sorry, is doing at
Chess in the slums.
where is that area he came from, Ikorodu, right?
Yes.
He's an icon they all look up to at Ikorodu. Now they have an alternative. Can we have more people like that?
Man, this is for the fact that she even called her brother was.
She called her mom first, and then her brother.
And that's another issue now, because this whole idea of sex is an industry right now.
Yeah.
From any angle you want to see it. It's a whole industry now. From people that are selling this, what do they call it now? Sexual enhancement to, it's a whole industry.
So people that are using padlock
Oh, gee.
to tie your husband down.
So my own will, my question now will be, what's the root cause of all of these? Definitely, I know that it's not as if it's going to be a smooth ride, right? But for our young children who are in the world, when I say in the world, who are out there meeting different people, yes, we've imparted these values in them, but when the voices of negativity is more than positivity, there's that thin line that will almost want to break loose, and then if you can't beat them, then join them, and before you know it, your voice is, you don't have a voice with them anymore. So first of all, what's the root cause of all of these, and how can we help our young children as they are going into different spheres of life?
Okay, I remember that conversation. I think it started with Dr. Michaels, and then Pastor said last week, he said, was it you when you were recapping 2 weeks ago? And then you said, all we hear is don't.
Oh.
What do we do? Root cause. You're saying the voice of negativity is louder. Who is shutting the mouth of positivity? We are not coming out to say the right things. We're not coming out to educate the right way. And so people that want to do their thing will do their thing. And guess what? They are bold. We are not. Okay, so if everyone, the church is not keeping quiet, can we start that another Sorosoke movement of ensuring that we teach the right thing, comprehensive sex education in the right way? Even when you see people, they still call them sex therapists on social media, what are they teaching? And sometimes I wonder, someone said, I'm just even tired of someone trying to sell something to me. Is that what makes sex therapy? But the
godly ones,
not even the professional ones. Let's start from people that have the right information. They're not even there to talk about it. They are not found in the social media spaces. They are not even there. They are mute. Churches, Pastor was still saying it last week. Can church talk more, create avenues and opportunity to talk about things, sex and intimacy, teach our teens church? What's the curriculum? What does it look like? During Valentine's Day is all the year is don't. So what do? We really don't know what to do. The message we preach is more of condemnation. There is nothing practical. Give me alternative. Don't masturbate. Okay, I'm already masturbating. How do I want to stop? Pray. That's what I've been praying. Like, these are things that conversations I've had with young people. I've been praying. Do you think I've not been praying? You know, the people are not getting knowledge. People are not getting knowledge. We are just fixated into one cocoon like that, and we're not advancing and not getting to, it's just like, there was one time, if you do CS, you almost be like an unbeliever.
Yes.
Until knowledge came. And then we realized we are all Hebrew women. We are all Hebrew women.
Yes,
so the same way we can teach sex and not be vulgar, we can teach sex and it will not be dirty,
and
because
God will be glorified.
And God will be glorified. Can we just teach it the right way instead of not just talking about it? Because these people are bringing out songs that are, it's sad. It's so sad. You go on social media, you are not even safe as an adult.
Yes.
How much more?
Yeah, it's a child.
I'm so glad when I have decided to follow Jesus came out, because there was one terrible song that was just raining all over social media. It's not even something we can even repeat it. As in the tune, the tone, everybody was just joking about this, and I was just like, this is the kingdom of darkness reigning. I've seen Christians too, subtly joke about this. Then boom, came, no. I was just like, thank you, Jesus. Finally, would
Breath of
be,
fresh air.
So please, can we just talk more and then be out there more and more?
Awesome.
Couples dating. All right. And I titled that this part "The No Before the Yes," right? Just like
The what?
The No Before the Yes.
The no
Before
before
the
the yes.
yes.
I absolutely love that.
The No Before the Yes, right? So just like you've emphasized now, young Christian couples are dating. They've met with the right authorities, and then what they hear is no, don't. Before, as you are going, don't. As you are going, don't. And so they are now married, and so it's almost like they don't know what to do with themselves. What will be the starting point for that kind of
The starting
situation?
point is during wedding. See, there's so much emphasis and attention to the wedding and not the marriage. So maybe first of all, realize that wedding is just a day, marriage is then, after, and of course till death do us part. We know that part. We know that we have the covenant of long life. So I tell people, when you get married, you're talking about together another 60 years, 65 years together forever, 70 years together forever, depending on your age when you got married. So a whole 70 years, you don't want to blow it off. You want to prepare for it. So my dear intending couples, as you're shopping for your gown, your
Ashwebi.
cake, ashwebi, the bridal shower, you're planning for your bridal shower, please include your premarital counseling. It is very important. Premarital counseling, and then the premarital sex counseling, because it's vital. Or if just ensure that wherever you're signing up for your premarital counseling, let them ask for the curriculum and see if sex is included, and what exactly are you going to teach about sex. Ask question. It is very, very important. That is to the intending couples. And guess what? Your wedding cake, a few weeks later, nobody will remember. Your hair, your nails, all these things are just for that one day. But this counseling would last. Like, there are things that I learned in my premarital counseling classes that I still glean from that light. When light comes on, it's forever. You have a light. So this thing is something that will last forever. Those are for the intending couples. To the institutions that offer premarital sessions, our churches, please, can we update our curriculum? Can we get
like that.
training? Can we get
Update the
trainings? Yes, let's update our curriculum. It's really very important. It's not, why are you doing, what's this thing that is very common, that we all know that in church, once you're having your white wedding, they will ask for it. Pregnancy.
Okay.
Pregnancy. Why are you interested in pregnancy tests when you're not going to talk about what can lead to the pregnancy? That's been an hypocrite. If you're not going to ask them if they've been having sex, it's the only way to show they've been having sex is by getting pregnant. What's about the ones that have been using condom? What are the ones that have been doing, all sorts? So please include it. Include it, whether they've been sexually active or not. Include it and teach the proper thing. That's just it. I've had couples that have been sexually active come for sessions, and I tell them that, okay, can you just, after all the talk, some of them decide that, do you know what? We're going celibate till we get married. Because it's not coming from it's when someone is educated and you have knowledge, it brings light. It brings light, and you don't need to force them to make that decision, because the light would make you see. And so let's update our curriculum. Let's get training if need be, because knowledge. And so let's get trained. Let's go for certification courses. If you need to go back to school, please do so that we can help destinies.
And thankfully you made mention of that, because my next question was to be addressed to a situation where two scenarios now, that two intending couples, they are not sexually active, they are there, but then there's that lady has fertility issues, the man maybe also has fertility issues, and then instead of them enjoying that, they are dealing with issues here and there.
Okay. Now, fertility issue has nothing to do with the sexual act sometimes. So whether they've been sexually active before or not, some fertility issues will not be known. You won't get to know them until, okay, you start trying. In fact, medically, if you've not tried for a year, they can't even say you can't even come and say I have a fertility issue unless you already know that there are underlying issues. Okay, so if in the area of, okay, we've not been sexually active and then we discover there are fertility issues, and then that is, being a distraction, that one is psychological and emotional. But if what you're trying to say is, how people say, do you want to risk it? And that would not be going for fertility issue. We're talking about maybe sexual dysfunction. And then you don't need to try before you know you will have sexual, for instance, erectile dysfunction. You don't need a woman to know you have it. As in, you don't need to try to start having sex before you know. You wake up in the morning, you don't have an erection. That is a normal biological response of a mature child. Like, it's just like your child is 18 years old and has never menstruated. Does she need to have sex before she would know that there is something wrong? You get. So normally when you don't have an erection, because early in the morning, what causes an erection? It is blood flowing into the penis. So many things can cause that blood flow. So early in the morning when you wake up, normally there should be an erection. So if there has not been an erection, and then maybe you admire a girl, and then you should have an erection, but you like somebody, you've never had an erection in your entire life, and then you are blaming it on not having sex before marriage, you're a liar. You're a liar. You're not just being truthful. You already know that there's something wrong with you. Now, let's say the guy knows. As a lady, the girl, how would you know? You can ask questions. That's just this. You can ask questions. See, there are few people that I know. There are people like that they never even, in fact, they did not even notice. Your heart rate will increase. Even as a lady, you get aroused. But it's just that arousal in a woman, there might not really be anything too physical like that. Maybe your nipples will, you have an erection on your nipples, but maybe you're wearing a bra that won't show. But the guy, there will be that tendency. If you look, you will see. You will see the bulge. You will know he's becoming what Bible terms as is behaving uncomely. And that will be a sign to say, yeah, wamalo. You will know. You just don't want to be truthful. That's just it. And if you courted afar, that's the place of communication. You ask space. Let's have the boxes, and then let us start ticking the box one by one.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. The next thing to look at is, especially for intending couples too, And also,
Intending couple should pay us for this session.
intending couples and even couples that just got married too. Now we live in the, because of the way sex is, it's just everywhere now. There is that narrative. But as a man, you've got to, as a man, you've got to do it well. Oh. So, and as a woman too, ensure to, So before they even get there, there is that high expectation. For the man, there is that. Okay, so if I don't, and of course, the part of the narrative that I've also seen is how this woman was just there because this man could not, do it well, and this
They're
man
not
too
giving
was,
me styles, monkey in the snake shadow.
and this man too is just everywhere because this lady cannot just. So there's that expectation. As a man, you've got to. So before the marriage, there's that. Okay, the woman too is doing okay. How can intending couples or newlyweds manage this expectation?
Yeah, these are some of the things that are discussed in premarital sex counseling, sincerely, because even people that have been sexually active, they will think that why do we need premarital counseling? And then the sex aspects, after all, all things have passed away, but at least we've gained knowledge in the old things. Now we are in Christ, but the truth is that the Bible says stolen water is sweet. Sex before marriage is not the same thing as sex in marriage. That's just it. And then expectations are different. People are wired differently, and that's one side. For people that have even been sexually active, they get married and they realize that the expectation is not meeting the reality. Now, imagine people that have now not been sexually active, especially a guy that abstained. They always, in counseling, the man will always say, please, ma, when any other question, say, one more question, please let me tell her, I want it every day, like food, 3 times a day. And the girls will say, no problem, I'm ready. 2 weeks into marriage, okay, max 1 month, they're already calling, coach, tell me, what is going on? Do you want to kill me? You start hearing, do you want to kill me? The guy want to pounce on the girl and the wife, and like Lord. All the residue, the deposits, you just want to, these things don't work that way, like that, especially if you don't even have enough education to understand how the woman's body works or her needs, or you might just be doing things selfishly. So that is still, it will still go back to getting the important knowledge of what and how to navigate these things. So, and each case is different. So I won't just be able to start dishing out advice now or generalize, because different people with different needs and different expectations. For some, they're just very the things, their fantasy is just so different from their spouse's fantasy, and because they've never talked about it, there is clash in it. And so these are things where premarital counseling helps a lot to bridge that gap, and then you get to talk about your sexual expectations.
Awesome. Thankfully, you also made mention of fantasies, right? And these are 2 people coming from different backgrounds, right? Probably even, let's assume maybe this is a guy that has abstained, but somehow he has seen some information, he has seen certain types of
technical. Technically, he's abstaining, but the information is well loaded.
So because of that information, he has some fantasies in his head already, right? And so there's this other lady too, because of the kind of information she has received, she also has a different orientation. So they come together. There's this person who wants to live out fantasies, and there's this other person that just wants to.
The fantasy is even different. They might both be living out fantasies, but one person's fantasy is, a lot of foreplays. We pour out pet towels, we do bathtub, and then the reality is you don't even have a bathtub in your house. It's bucket and bowl. And then you're wondering, where is all the beautiful, you know how we read books, and then the idea of how sex is in the movies.
Yeah.
Please, if you've ever seen sex scene in a movie, it's a lie. That's not how it is in reality. That's just the truth. And so these are the issues we have, because you're fixated with what a director and a producer has come up together, and the script writer. And then in a movie, you forget that for everything that was done, it's included in the script. If the girl rolls her eyes, it's because the script says roll your eyes. If the girl smiles, it's because in the script you have to smile. And so if you now take that as your reality, and then you are doing snake in the monkey shadow style, and the girl is crying instead of smiling, and you are wondering, the movie now, the girl was saying, give me more, give me more, because it's inside that script in the movie that you ask for more. So movie is not reality.
Yes.
Make your own movie. You now start making your own
movie, man. Amazing. So lastly, impotency and frigidity. The man is impotent, the woman is frigid.
Double trouble. What is happening?
So, I'm just looking at it from different sides.
So I thought together that a couple, the man is impotent and then the lady is frigid.
I don't know. Do we have cases like that?
I've never had a case like that. So, like the enemy is after their sex life.
So which means that the marriage begins to have problems when, of course, they can't, at least everything, they both know that one is impotent or one is frigid, and then somewhat it begins to affect the whole marriage, right?
In the first instance, is there even a marriage? Because when we talk about marriage, lawyers are not here, but my lawyer friends, they always say that to call something a marriage, it must be consummated.
Okay.
So it's even not be marriage per se like that. But if we are talking about two different scenarios, a lady is frigid, and because this is too extreme, let's separate it. Maybe in a certain marriage we have a lady that is frigid. That's why we have therapy. It's just like in a home, someone has malaria, see a doctor now, you get help. Why? Everything will still go back to why. Can you trace the reason for the frigidity? Have you been raped? Are you circumcised? You know, the why will give us insight into how she can get help. Now, impotency. Are we talking about low sperm count, low motility, or we're talking about erectile dysfunction totally? The truth is that I tell people, I've heard, it's not like I read this story, and the woman came out to talk about her marriage. That's, you know, they were dating. No, she had been married before, and then her husband died. And then the man, she said dating, he was a young, as in, she was still in her 30s when her husband died. The first husband was really a very young marriage. And then there's this man, I think in his late 30s to early 40s, that started dating, and he realized the man was a bit reluctant. So eventually they had the conversation, and he came out honest. To be honest, that he had erectile dysfunction, like totally. Wow. There is nothing, complete impotency. And because he said it was just, do we have alternative? They sought medical help, and in fact, they didn't even see a sex therapist, it was a gynecologist, and gave them satisfaction. And then she said she was fine with it because the man is good enough. That's just it. And sincerely, children are own marriage until I think the man eventually died of cancer, not at a young age anyway, and they had a very beautiful marriage. And so she was just saying that there are a lot of people that are not talking to. There are a lot of people that have adopted, and the truth is that if anybody, people marry different kind of people if you're honest enough. So I don't think that should be the end of your life. That's just it. And in therapy, there are alternatives. That's just it, because there is intercourse and outer course. That's just it. So don't think that, okay, because he does not have erection and then that's the end of it. There could be a way around it. So now you want to decide you have children or not, and it's not only impotency that makes not erectile dysfunction. That there are some. What if it's the woman that have issues, fertility issues, and then she can't have children? So adoption could be an issue, an option. Surrogacy can be an option. Different things. So I don't think there's any problem in this world that would not have a solution. But please don't hide. Be vulnerable and be truthful and be honest from the beginning, so that this other person would know what he or she is getting into.
Oh, man, that was like a relief even for me hearing it, because these are things that you hear and you just hear that because of that. For example, I was listening to Religion on Radio. It's a program designed for single people, single parents to meet and just mingle and all of that. And she was sharing experience about the fact that for about 15 years they had no child of the marriage, no child, because the man obviously had problems. But though the man had his own issues too, was at the point when doing having extramarital affairs, and that automatically put the marriage in problems, and they are now separated. And so, which means that sexual life of every marriage a godly sex education.
Yeah.
A godly kind of sex education. And I'm hoping that if the reason why I'm particular about intending couples is because I'm a bachelor, so I'm also using it to to get myself involved. And so whatever category you are, I believe we've been able to meet different categories. If you are married, you're having issues in your sexual life, definitely, please, she's here. Talk to her, book a session, and you can have that conversation. If you feel like if it's something that it's beyond two of you, come to Mrs. Temi. She will guide you. She will put you through and have conversations. And if there's anything that I've also taken out of all of this, is to have conversations. Talk. You and your partner talk. Whether intending, whether in marriage, talk. Have the conversation. And another thing I also got from tonight was that we need to become bold in our belief.
Yes.
Whatever is not right is not right. Whatever is not godly, it's not godly. Let's begin to, as we are shouting no turning back, let's also preach that no turning back, that this is what we have, and let the world know that this is what we stand for, and let them come to our source, and let them also see the light of God. Once again, I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's been awesome, honestly. I'll go back again, listen to it again, and then ensure that I get this in my spirit. And so that's about it for today's edition of World Bank Kingdom Conversations on the theme, how to enjoy sex the way God designed. Next week is going to be another time, but so ensure that you make it a date with us. If you feel like you have received value, so please share this also. Share it with people. If you feel that Mrs. Temi has said something that struck you in your personal life or in your marriage, please consult her, get her contact. She's on Instagram as Temi's Love Clinic. Yes, she's on Instagram at Temi's Love Clinic. You'll find out there. Send a DM. I'm sure she's always there to. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. That's her contact right there. And she also has a WhatsApp group for women. Yes, Bone of My Bones Foundation for women. So if you're a woman, looking for expression with other women, finding expression, just please join the WhatsApp here. Just join and also share with other people too. Yes, I think we've covered that. Yes, also on Saturday, don't forget to join us for leaders meeting if you like to be more involved with leadership mindset. And network service by 9:30 a.m. And so thank you once again for joining this session, and thanks to Mrs. Temi for doing this.
Having me.
Yes. So until we see next time, God bless you and